Wife cheated, so I'll take revenge by exposing her. Update. Son is not mine plus 3 updates. I'll get straight to the point, but I 29M from UK have been with my wife 29F from UK have been together for 13 years since college days, but have been married for 5 years. We have a 9-year-old son and 2 years ago. My wife bought him an iPad. Little did I know that device would cause the end of my marriage. My wife has never been overly attached or secretive about her messages when I'm around. We've shared our passwords as a sign of trust, so I never had any reason to suspect her of cheating. My son asked me to buy him Minecraft, so I said sure, so I went on to App Store, and in the Today tab, there was a section called iPad Essentials and Snapchat was there, and I thought it was strange for an 8-year-old to have Snapchat. I asked my son why he has Snapchat, however he didn't know what Snapchat is. Maybe he accidentally downloaded it? Curiosity struck me, so I opened Snapchat, and I think you can guess the rest. My wife made a Snapchat account which is 1.5 years old on my son's iPad and had one guy added who we will call him J-asshole because it rhymes with his actual name. Regrettably, I lack concrete evidence of their explicit communication. All I have evidence is J-asshole on my son's iPad, plus the fact that Snapchat's messages and images vanish within 24 hours. Contemplating the notion of impersonating my wife and reaching out to J-asshole on Snapchat briefly crossed my mind. However, I swiftly discarded the idea, wary that my wife might have J-asshole listed in her contacts on her iPhone. Such an action could potentially raise suspicion on why she would be simultaneously messaging him from 2 separate devices. Despite this, I opted to leave the Snapchat app and remove any traces that I opened it. Moving forward, I downloaded Minecraft onto my son's iPad. Following that, I took a moment to peruse my wife's Instagram, searching for any traces of connection with J-asshole, but found none. However, a different story unfolded on Facebook, where I uncovered that she indeed followed him. Thankfully, his profile was publicly accessible, affording me a glimpse into his life and how it can assist my nuclear option. Notably, his online presence featured images suggestive of a wife and 2 children. Furthermore, it appeared that his primary hobby revolved around hiking, evident from the catalog of pictures captured amidst his various hikes. LMAO. In case I wanted to go nuclear, I found his wife and his parents' Facebook profiles. So Reddit people, I need help for an endgame plan. Do I go completely nuclear and be a complete asshole and try and ruin my wife and J-asshole life by exposing them to everyone? I studied sociology and psychology for A-levels years ago, and I don't want to create a toxic environment for my son, so what should be done? Edit. A user recommended me to search Snapchat memories, and there's the evidence I desperately needed. My wife sending nude pics to J-asshole. I am genuinely disgusted that my son could have accidentally came across these pictures, and I've practically finished with this marriage. As a Reddit user commented, I will 100% be going scorched earth. Update 1. Please note that not much has advanced from my previous post, and this will be a slow process, however I will document as much as I can. Secondly, a Reddit user asked why I didn't show any kind of heartbreak or upset, and to answer this question, I felt more anger, hence why I want to do a nuclear approach, however I need to plan ahead. Moving on to the update, following a recommendation from a Reddit user, I decided to view my son's screen time activity. Upon review, I discovered that, on average, she spent approximately 20 minutes per day on Snapchat, according to data available up to March 4th. However, it's worth noting that screen time statistics may not be 100% accurate. Another Reddit user recommended that I acquire the services of a private investigator, and thus, I followed through with their suggestion. Although it entails a significant financial investment, I am hopeful that the investigator will provide vital evidence to prove my wife's infidelity, which I intend to present to legal counsel upon initiating divorce proceedings. Also, it's worth noting that UK justice system doesn't really care about infidelity when it comes to divorce. However, I want primary custody of my son, so adultery will be considered. Finally, another Reddit user told me to see if J-asshole on my wife contacts on her phone, but unfortunately I haven't had the time to go through her phone. In preparation, I've drafted 2 plans which I could use against my wife. Plan 1, going fully nuclear, showing evidence to everyone of my wife's infidelity, even showing proof of J-asshole infidelity to his family. Also worth noting, Regardless of which plan I choose, I will tell asshole wife the truth, as he deserved to know what kind of homewrecker her husband is, and serving divorce paper right in her face. Plan 2. Threatening to go nuclear, with hopefully the vital evidence provided by private investigator. I can threaten my wife with the evidence I've obtained and persuade her to not contest the divorce and let me have full or primary custody, otherwise I will go scorched earth. Of course these are drafts, but let me know if you have any advice on how I should proceed with this. This will be a slow and mentally draining process, but I hope to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Update 2. I'm struggling with guilt after being intimate with my wife after her affair. I will discuss a few minor points before ranting about how my life has been since discovering my wife affair and my mental health struggles. I'd like to acknowledge that while this may be stretching the boundaries of Reddit assistance, for me, these posts serve as a form of cost-free therapy. My experiences with professional therapists have been less than satisfactory, a situation I'll delve into later. However, on Reddit, I've found a sense of genuine concern and support from the community, despite the presence of a few trolls. For this, I am sincerely grateful to you all. Now onto the minor points, which I will discuss briefly. Firstly, I want primary custody for my son for 2 reasons. Firstly, my wife works more hours than me as her job is way more demanding than mine, and I take care of my son more. And secondly, I'm horrified by the fact that her nudes was on my son's iPad, so overall I believe he will benefit staying with me. I also never intended on taking my child away from his mother, but nonetheless, she caused the family to collapse by failing to keep her legs closed. Secondly, a Reddit user suggested that she could be having an affair with a coworker, so I've arranged a meeting with her colleague, who I consider a friend. Thirdly, I've concluded I'm going to take the less nuclear approach, but with a few minor adjustments. Finally, and with significance, I felt inclined to postpone contacting lawyer initially as I wanted concrete evidence from private investigator. However, upon receiving numerous recommendations from the community, I gave in to their advice and will sought legal counsel. I've come to realize it's key for me to stay several steps ahead of my wife, considering the possibility of her initiating divorce proceedings. I will talk about why I'm not a fan of therapy, and the simple answer is, my therapist didn't care for me at all. During adulthood and childhood, my father cheated on my mother multiple times. Somehow they are still together to this day, of course. Therapy and psychology has advanced since I last had a session, but I just deeply remember explaining my issues to my therapist, and she replied in a monotone, "Anything else?" and ended the session. I feel like I'm traumatized by these words. I have rarely expressed my issues to people until I made this Reddit post, and from my experience, thus the advice I've been given, I feel like unqualified Reddit users have treated me better than actual therapists, which sounds crazy to say. Now onto how life has been for me. Honestly, I've been struggling to hide my frustration and disgust. Yesterday, we had intimacy and intercourse because I've been accepting her demands. She knows I would never turn down intimacy, and I genuinely felt sick. I have no evidence my wife or asshole affair turned physical, but the mere concept of my wife opening her legs to another man frightens. She questioned my peculiar motives, but I just joked that my Johnny isn't working, and she laughed. We left it at that, but I genuinely felt humiliated, and I think I'm a massive asshole for forcing myself to do this act. My wife could be laughing about this situation to asshole, and I'm just struggling to accept what life has become. I've also been overthinking, what if my son isn't mine? What if this affair has been going on for quite, and I've been too oblivious to recognize the red flags because I firmly held onto the idea that my marriage had no flaws. I'm sorry if this post felt like a rant, but I would appreciate advice on how I can hold on while knowing that my wife is having an affair. Update 3. My son isn't mine, and I'm an asshole losing the will to live, all because of a stupid iPad. Hello everyone, I will keep this as short as possible. If you want some context, then you can read my post above. I made this post in one take. In my most recent post, many Reddit users told me to do a paternity test, so 2 days ago, my son did a paternity test, and I was extremely confident he was mine, but fate decided against me, and unfortunately he's not my son. He could be asshole son. Actually, F it. I may be going insane, but it may be my last few days on Earth, so F it. My son could be James Castle's son or another man's son. I still haven't told him the truth, nor have I confronted my wife about it, but I believe she had caught wind of it. I kinda just want my son to forget me and bow out of this world by going nuclear and ruining my wife's life, not physically, but through showing her family and friends pictures of her infidelity and proof my son isn't mine, and make her suffer knowing she caused a man demise through her actions, and she has to live for the rest of her life with this guilt. Maybe I'm going insane, but damn, this whole situation has screwed me up. What if I just said no to downloading Minecraft for my son? What if I just never saw Snapchat in the first place? Regardless, even if I discovered my wife affair, I would have eventually figured out that my wife was having an affair. Damn it, why am I still calling that witch my wife? A part of me doesn't want to give up and live a new life. I love my son dearly, but knowing that the past 9 years have been a lie really breaks me apart, even just by looking at him. Maybe after obtaining evidence from my private investigator, I might let the witch know I'm aware of the affair and my son's paternity, and I will divorce her and request to give up my parental rights so that my son meets his true father and grow up hating the witch. If I don't update within a month, I'm probably gone. If I do update, I will probably be miserable, relying on Reddit for free therapy knowing I abandoned my son because of my wife's stupid actions. I'm sorry. No child should be going through this, and I'm such an asshole, and it hasn't even started yet. Yep, I can't go through with this guilt. I'm going for option 1. Goodbye to the few people who cared.